I was living my best life in New York City. I worked in advertising, so I worked a nice fancy job in a fancy building. I lived in a 2-floor apartment, 2 blocks from Central Park, and it was an amazing life. In May 2021, me and my partner at the time, we had just planned a family vacation to Hilton Head. And I think we were there for maybe a few days. One night, I remember just waking up and saying, man, I have this terrible headache and it won't go away. And I think it's bad enough that we need to go to the hospital. And that is the last thing that I remember. And from then what I was told was that on the way to the emergency room, my left side started to give out. And so they just called an ambulance immediately to the side of the road where they picked me up and took me to the Hilton Head Hospital. And there they realized that I was having a massive stroke and they helicoptered me to Savannah. In Savannah, I had emergency brain surgery and I got one of the best surgeons in the area who was on call, who was able to remove the AVM. My stroke was caused by an AVM without doing a whole craniotomy where they have to remove your skull. I found out after the fact actually that I only had a 3% chance of living.
My name is Amy Linsin and I'm a team member at Prisma Health. I had a call that mothers don't ever want to get regarding my son Lucas, who was experiencing a major stroke. Lucas's surgeon came out and told us that he had done very well in the surgery. They had completely removed the AVM from his brain. So after Lucas's surgery, he was in a coma for about a month. About week 3, the case management team came and said, we're going to go to rehab with him. The surgeon actually said, you should really consider Shepherd Center in Atlanta. I didn't want him to get in the ambulance without me, but they wouldn't let me go. So we followed the ambulance from Savannah to Atlanta, and he was admitted to an ICU. He was in the ICU for a couple of days and then they put him in an inpatient unit.
It was a hard time for me because that's when I first started to realize that something was wrong with my body. I did 3 hours of therapy 5 days a week and I got to some really, really dark places. On top of feeling like a failure, I felt like a burden to my entire family. At Shepherd Center, I actually made a plan to take my own life. So I made a plan to go to the roof, jump, and that would be it. And I'd finally not be a burden, I'd finally not be a failure, and this would all be behind me. And then in that moment, I think the most beautiful thing happened is I laughed so hard, so hard. I was like, Lucas, you are in a wheelchair 100% of the time. I was like, what makes you think you can climb the stairs to the roof? And then what makes you think you can jump anywhere? If I can get through this and laugh, then I can get through anything. And I think the biggest learning in that was just to not take life too seriously. I make the decision to live with levity because my life is hard.
Lucas basically got to a point where he needed to make some longer term decisions because we knew his therapy was going to last, into years. He was transferred to our team here at Rogers C. Peace, where he got amazing care.
The people at Peace are so knowledgeable. It was really nice to know that I was going somewhere where they knew what they were doing, having the balance of being very professional like that, but also joking around with me. We had so much fun, and they helped me get some of the best wins that I got. I walk around without a cane in my house because of my physical therapist at Peace. I put these big barriers in my mind that I can't go out in the world and do stuff by myself. And my Rogers C. Peace team actually helped me break down those barriers a lot. They're like, dude, yes you can. Get yourself an Uber and find some place that you really want to go to. So one day I planned a day where I would go get a haircut downtown. After that, I would walk over to a coffee shop that I would go to when I was at Rogers C. Peace too. And then I would just take an Uber home. And that's exactly what I did. And it was the best day that I had had since my stroke. It was my Independence Day. And I looked around and realized for the very first time, I feel normal. I didn't see my cane anywhere. I didn't notice that my arm just hung from my shoulder. I didn't notice at the time my slow processing speed. And I think that experience has opened me up to the world in general after the stroke.
We're inspired, privileged, lucky. A lot of people don't get the kind of outcome that Lucas is getting. A lot of people give up because it's too hard, and we're blessed to have a son who is very committed in the journey and does the work every day. It's definitely changed me for the better, and it's helped me recommit to working in healthcare. No place else I'd rather work. Lucas is in a place now where he's completely independent. He can drive, he can take care of himself. Our family continues to rally. They're just this amazing care team and support team, and we're all looking forward to Lucas's new life, which is coming soon.
I'm still doing therapy now 2 to 3 times a week. because there's still a good amount of progress that I want to make. I think one of my biggest goals right now is to walk out in the world without a cane. I've always wanted to have a wife and kids and do that whole thing. And after the stroke, I didn't think that that was something I would ever have. But I'm back on the bandwagon. I think that's still what I want. And one of my biggest goals is to have children be able to carry them with both my arms. But it's something so simple. I think that would bring me so much joy.